Right, so welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Leeds end up 2-1 winners against Newcastle it was a really difficult game to watch in the second half in particular. And I've only just got my breath back. I've only just started breathing again. I kid you not, I think for the final half an hour, the heart was going. I was struggling to find a moment to take a breath. It was the classic Leeds that we saw, when we were really anxious about results last year in the Championship. But we're going to go through this as kind of clinically as we can. The first goal from Rafinha, who, by the way, had a sensational game. Rafinha was brilliant. A really creative outlet, a creative force going forwards. It's so clinical with that first goal. He receives the ball, a little cutback after a really nice break from Leeds, shifts it onto his left foot, kind of curling pass into that far corner. Really, really good opening goal, and set the tone because we were by far the better side in that first first half an hour, that first period. But here's where some of my problems come in. After we scored that first goal, we then started to sit back. We conceded ground. We allowed Newcastle to push on forwards and allowed them to play more in our territory. When it was 0-0, we were pushing forwards, we were attacking, aggressive down the wings, really causing Newcastle a lot of problems and making it so that Newcastle had nothing to play for. After we scored that first goal, we then started to sit back and invited that pressure. And Newcastle, they started pressuring. They played a little bit further, higher up the pitch. It was really disappointing to see Diego Llorente going off. It looked like he'd injured his hamstring. I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems to be made out of twigs. He's come back on after an injury. He looked all right in the under-23s, and then after 20 minutes, 15 minutes, he goes off with seemingly another injury. And it's not a good look. I do feel bad for him. It didn't look as if we rushed him into the squad because he had game time in the under-23s. Made of twigs, man. But Struijk came in and he did everything that was asked of him. Struijk had a fantastic game again. I thought he was the better performing centre-back. He was better than Cooper at winning some of the aerial duels, making crucial interceptions. I remember a little run that John Joe Shelby went on, carved through about 3 of our players. Struijk was the last man back to clear the ball, so he had a fantastic game. But I want to go into the second half now and talk a little bit about the passage of play leading up to Newcastle's goal. For the goal itself, they carved through the defence. It was far too easy for them. And this is what I really want to talk about this, because from the start of the second half to about the 75th minute, we were terrible. We looked really, really bad in possession at the back. There were multiple moments in that second half where I was begging and I was screaming at the screen for them to stop messing around with the ball at the back, trying to play out from the back, and it went wrong. Newcastle picking the ball up, nicking the ball in such dangerous areas. Our playing it out the back in our own third has to stop, because that's how Newcastle got their goal. And if Newcastle were a better side and they had a little bit more clinicalness, they would have punished us even further. But I've got to say, the overall ball control and in possession for the majority of that second half was abysmal. It was really dire. Bamford didn't have a great game. Whenever he got the ball into his feet, he would miscontrol it or give it away, and then he'd throw his arms up, and it wasn't a good look for him. So I agree with the substitution. He had to come off for Roberts, who I felt ran well, had a good game. But it was Rodrigo and Rafinha that made things happen. This is what we were talking about. Our world-class Premier League standard players are the ones making things happen for us. And they both had fantastic games for us going forward. And a couple of players at the back. Phillips worked hard, and I think the game would have gone differently without Phillips there. And Struijk also had an amazing game. Meslier as well, I'm going to shout him out. In that spell, that 45 minutes to the 75th minute, when Alan Saint-Maximin is running through about 8 of our players, and they were getting shot after shot. The corners coming in, they had about 4 corners in a row when Newcastle were winning the headers. I think they had about three free headers towards goal. And Meslier stepped up in a big way today. He kept us in this game. Phenomenal saves from the keeper. And he was in the wars. He got battered about a bit, but he did so well when it counted. When the moment required it, Meslier stepped up and he produced the saves to keep us in the game. But we were losing every ball in the second half. I'm not going to credit it too much to Newcastle, their Newcastle press and how well they were playing. I thought they were fairly average, to be honest. Nothing much to shout out about there. In the first half, they were abysmal. But it was our own silly play and decision making that let us down in that second half. It was giving the ball away in possession. There's the passage of play, the little triangles, or the one-touch pass, where we knock it on and make the run. That wasn't happening for us, and we were giving the ball away to the Newcastle players. The possession was poor in that second half, it really was. And to be honest, I'm glossing over the fantastic second goal, the winning goal. Because it was the one bright spark in a second half that we were second best by a long shot to a Newcastle side. But once again, we're talking about that quality moments from our world-class Premier League calibre players. Rafinha lofting the ball over to Harrison, who just about stays onside, and a moment of composure from Harrison where he takes it down and lashes it with that left foot and curls in off the post. It's a sensational goal, and it was exactly what we needed to get us back in front. But I almost think that we play worse when we're ahead. Because when the scores were level in that game, we played on the front foot. We were aggressive, we were attacking, really making things work, and we put Newcastle on the back foot. As soon as we were ahead, both times, we sat back and we allowed Newcastle to press onto us. We're just creating our own problems. But again, Rafinha to the rescue after a really dire second half, where Newcastle were cutting through our midfield and defence time and time again. The driving runs from Fabian Schär, Alan St. Maximin, it made us look a little bit amateur at times, and we were lucky to get away with not conceding in that period. But what I am going to say is that final 10 minutes, the final 15 minutes, we dug our heels in and we fought like Spartans. We kind of shored up the sloppy play a little bit, and because we kind of realised that there wasn't that long left to go, and we held firm. Started to win a few more of those aerial duels, putting our bodies on the line, throwing ourselves into the tackles. And then the really smart game management. We're seeing Ayling taking the balls out into the corner, holding play up, kicking the ball against Newcastle players for throw-ins. Really, really smart game management. And it was actually really, really good to see the boys playing that way for the last 10 minutes, where it kind of felt a little bit less sloppy and more concentrated, really grit your teeth, dig your heels in, defending at all costs. But the 3 points is the main thing to take away from this game. It wasn't pretty by any means. I've credited how hard we worked and how much we dug our heels in and gritted our teeth for the win. And yeah, we did deserve it. But on another day, with a more clinical team, we'd have been torn to shreds with that second half. For the majority of that second half. But this puts us back up to 12th in the table, and hopefully it instills a little bit of confidence from us. Top class performances from Rodrigo and Rafinha today. They worked their socks off. Rodrigo, again in particular, he was battling, he was in the wars, playing smart, and he actually worked hard defensively as well. Really, really impressed with him. Phillips had a good game. Ayling, starting on the right position where we wanted him to be, shows up. And those driving runs enables Rafinha to have a better game. And Meslier as well, with really pulling out the stops with some of those saves in that second half period. The boys dug in for that result. It's a crucial 3 points against, again, a team that looks to be destined for relegation. It's a game we had to win. And we're going to be going into a run of quite difficult fixtures, so this was important. And I'm still breathing heavily. I'm only just getting my breath back from that. But a good performance from the boys. It's a positive sign. wasn't the greatest of it wasn't the greatest of showings, but 3 points away from home is the main thing to take away from here. That's gonna be all from me. A really quick match reaction, and I still haven't got my breath back. But if you're liking the content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That's the most important thing at the moment. Help me get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers. That's going to be all from me today. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay safe.